Hello there people, my name's Amanamaz and I just saw Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which is like the third film in the past month or so that I split up into two parts, with Fast and Furious 10 and Across the Spider-Verse being the other two I can think of. But I think this film acts as an individual story better than the others, as it has a clear ending whereas the other two ends in a cliffhanger. But I certainly hope that more films don't follow this trend, because especially if it doesn't end well, then it feels even more unsatisfying. But I think this latest Mission Impossible film does do it well, and you can tell where the part 2 is going. In fact, this franchise as a whole has just been getting better and better, and this film just follows the trend. Granted, it's not a complete story, but I think it's one of the better ones, and maybe one of the best films of the year in my opinion. But I do get there is a recency bias to that, as the last few films haven't been anywhere near as good. And with a lot of films flopping recently, I do see this film almost saving the movie industry, probably until Barbie and Oppenheimer come out. Now, I feel like I've almost gone around reviewing it without reviewing the actual film, if you know what I mean, but I'll do it now. The cast in this film is amazing. Tom Cruise is just ageless and he always ups his game for these movies. I do think he'll eventually kill himself though, doing a ridiculous stunt, like the one he did here riding a bike off a mountain, which looked awesome by the way, but how he doesn't shit himself is insane because I certainly would. Hayley Atwell I think was a great addition to the cast. She played off Tom really well. Their chemistry was really good as someone who was just a thief but gets dragged into it all, though I do hope it doesn't spin off as a romantic angle between them. Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames as Benji and Luther were great together as always. They really do feel like friends to Ethan, and their banter provided the right amount of comedic relief. I do like that the relationship was used as a point to cause doubt, as Ethan didn't want to put them in harm's way, when the villain wants to get to him by hurting his close ones. And speaking of the villain, he was by far the weakest point of the film. He was borderline wooden and one-dimensional, and he doesn't speak that much either as someone who was supposed to be part of Ethan's past. Now, having said that, this film is part 1, and I'm sure they'll expand on the character in part 2. But if he's written the same when that one comes out, then he's a crack character, not gonna lie. The action and the fight scenes were awesome by the way, and it really does leave you feeling on the edge, even though we already know the characters will make it through with like a second or so to spare. But the stakes are high and there are lasting consequences to the action. The fighting is so well choreographed and is probably the main part that stood out to me the most. So basically, it's a great film with great action, but a weak villain. But it does leave you wanting to see what happens next, and I'm sure part 2 will build on what has been set up here. Overall, I enjoyed the film and I think you should see it as soon as you can. I can't recommend it enough, especially if you felt burnt from the other latest releases. If I had to give it a rating, it would be a 9 out of 10, and it will probably be even higher if the film continues the quality. Anyway, if you like my review, please leave a like and subscribe, that will greatly be appreciated, and I shall see you next time, and peace.